Welcome to Brie Pod. I'm here with me, Brie. So it's been a while, 3 weeks it seems. We have been in the midst of basically appointments. If you were on my social media and you're following me, I talked about appointments that we have been going to. My son has appointments for his head and the growth with it. We finally have clarity on that. Basically, he has torticollis, which we knew. We were bringing him to the chiropractor for that. And what they're thinking is because in the beginning he had torticollis, well, he has, but because it was, in the beginning, he would only favor the right side, so his head was shaping on that because of the way he would move for the torticollis. So, sorry, I am kind of congested. I don't know if it is allergies or COVID or I don't know what it is, to be honest. But anyway, that's the lovely part about getting sick these days. You're like, could it be this, or this? So I have no idea. But I've been drinking a lot of tea. So anyway, we went to the doctor. We found out that he will be wearing a helmet. They say that they can wear it from 4 to 6 months. The reason why they don't have like a specific time, one moment, is because they don't know when it's going to actually they know it's growing, but they don't know when it's going to actually do the complete growth. So the helmet you just leave it on 23 hours a day because you have to have that 1 hour. Well, I don't know if you take the whole hour, but you've got that 1 hour of cleaning the helmet because they get gross. And then, of course, bathing our son. So he's going to be getting that helmet. But first, today we have an appointment and they will do the measurements. And then after the measurements, we will bring him back on February 22nd. And then they'll put the helmet on his head that they built. They'll fit it to him. And then he'll wear that. Now, you're like, hey, didn't you say you were moving? Yes, I did. So what does that mean for baby and his helmet? Well, basically that means that luckily the place that we are getting the helmet from happens to also have a place in Arizona. So we just have to do 2 appointments here, and then we'll do the rest of the appointments in Arizona. So that's the exciting part about this, is that that there is a place that we can go to in Arizona so we can complete that out there. Now, when it comes to me and my jaw surgery and everything to do with my teeth, I will still have to come back once a month to take care of all that stuff. So I do not have the same route as him, but that's okay because, I started this journey with my teeth and I want to see it through. So we're gonna do it. So I'm still waiting to hear from them on when the surgery will be, but we should be hearing pretty soon, actually, of when we're gonna schedule it. And so for the move, I think I said this in a few podcast episodes. I'm not really sure, to be honest at this point, but as many of you know that know me, for work, Jeremy is a traveler. So we do a lot of traveling for his job. And the reason why it feels like sometimes we don't travel is because some of the projects that he has last for a few years, so we end up in a place for a while where it kind of doesn't look like traveling at one point, So we are actually still travelers, and that is why we are moving. Um, then this project, I can't say that it's coming to an end because technically it's still going to be going, but the project that Jeremy is needed in is in Arizona. So we're going to be going there and basically doing well, he will be doing whatever he is needed to do, and I will be just going along with him, which is fine by me. I think that's something that I always have loved about his job is that there are there's like a new environment. You get to see new things, you get to do new things. Um, so it's really nice and it works out. And the only two that have not done this yet is our son and our dog. So this will be interesting for them. It'll be new because both of them were actually born over here. Benji was born in Washington, Baby was born in Oregon. So it's kind of funny that they have not been anywhere outside of here yet. So, and also my poor puppy, like Arizona weather compared to Oregon weather, it's going to be interesting for his fur coat. So we'll see how he does with that because he's going to go from rainy to cold, which what it has been, to warm and hot. So we'll see how he does. Um, and obviously we'll be taking the precautions of, what we need to do when it comes to him and, staying cool and um getting the water, I'm sorry. So a lot of things are happening all at once. We've got the move. We need to be in Arizona in March. Um, we have an apartment that has about 2 years of stuff. Not like too crazy because we knew that we'd eventually have to move, but it's still like when you're in a place for a long time, it's hard not to get different things because you'll be like, oh, I need this for whatever. Like, for example, I love crap. And so I have like these little tools that are specifically to break open crap. So not saying that that's like a huge thing, but you kind of gather things like that. Like, and at first it seems little until you have to move it, and then you're like, oh, yeah, I may have gathered a little bit too much. So, so we have that to do, and we don't have a lot of time to get it done, but I think Jeremy and I have really learned with a lot of stuff that we've done that even in the little amount of time, we do pretty well of getting ourselves together and as a team, we really do a beautiful job at making things happen and work. So I have full faith in us that we'll have this prepared and ready to go when it's time to leave. Um, yes, if you're asking, how are you guys getting there? Yes, we will be boarding a plane. And I know some of you may be thinking, oh, will that be okay for the dog? And I do believe so because um, we are going through American Airlines, and the way that they work from coming from Oregon to Arizona, they will not put your dog on the same plane as you. They put your dog in a cargo plane. One moment. Every time I get that little tickle in the throat. Um, so they'll put your dog in a cargo plane. I watched videos, I've watched reviews, I've watched anything and everything to feel the calmness of the safety. And I do think that he will be okay because it is also a 3-hour ride and he like they have it set up where they will, fill his water bowl, they'll fill his food, obviously as long as you have those, I'm trying to think of the name of it. There's like these things to connect to your bowl. in the cage. And then you have to, there's like a lot of parameters that you have to follow in order for a dog to get sent where you're going. So they have to have like a special, I don't want to say cage, but basically a cage, special cage, special bolts that you use, like versus plastic versus metal. Um, the door has a special thing it needs. Um, a lot of stuff to it. So that part stresses me out the most, I think, out of the move is just the worry. And I know he'll be fine. But it's so it's always scary sending any baby alone, you know? So, but they will hold him, you know, like if our flight was later, um, than his and he came in first, they will hold him and you have to have like, your ID and a lot of different papers, you know, to prove that you are you before you take your animal. You also need to have papers for your dog saying that he is within good health. So truly, there's a lot that goes into it, that has been making me feel calm about sending him this way. The other thing to add is that they will not send your dog with specific requirements to how cold it is or to how hot it is. So if it's really hot or if it's really cold, your dog cannot board the plane. So that also makes me feel better because I think they have come a long way with safety. Um, of transporting animals. So I really am happy about that. And I we could have done a drive, but the thing is, the drive would have been it would have taken us a while to get there with all the stops that we need to make for the baby and the dog. And we really just want to save those vacation days for going home to New York so we can see family because there's a lot of family on the East Coast that have not been able to meet Liam yet. So that's why we're not doing the drive. Because then it would take up vacation time, and we'd like to use that for uh, Liam to meet his family because he has so many people to meet. He's with me right now. So we have that. My surgery, we're still waiting on a date. My son will have a few more appointments for the helmet, but luckily they will happen in Arizona, and you'll officially see it on February 22nd, which the funny part about February 22nd is that that's the day that I actually got my braces put on. So it's my 1 year anniversary on the day my baby gets his helmet. Yeah, so that's kind of a funny, sweet day for the both of us. And then I'm gonna try to take pictures of his head so that you're able to see his the changes. It's hard to tell when you're looking at him face on the shape of his head. Um, but if you're in person, you would be able to see this how misshapen it really looks because it kind of is elongated um and flat on one part. Like not like perfectly flat, but flat, where it pushes everything to a certain side. Um, and when we talked to the doctor about this, you know, she said that we caught it pretty early. A lot of times she's seeing babies that are like 8 months old. And she also said that, you know, well, this is actually research that I did too. I learned that with if you need a helmet for a baby, that it's best to do it before they reach like 9 months because the older they get, the slower the growth. Uh, so like right now, they could put the helmet on, and the growing period that he has is a little quicker. But as you get older, because it finally gets to that ending place for the growth slows down. So, um, That is another reason why. And then once they get to a year old, there's nothing you can do with the helmet anyhow. Anyway, so we're really ahead of the game with him being, well, now he's almost 5 months, but so that's pretty exciting to hear that um, because, a lot of times, as you know, you're questioning yourself as a parent with the constant different things in society that you see and are told. So it was really nice to hear that positive from them. The other thing um, that I just wanted to go on a mini tangent on is I've been watching The Parent Test on Hulu, and it's been very intriguing. So if you're a parent, or that you don't have to be a parent, that's really ridiculous for me to say, but if you're interested in watching different parenting techniques and what the pros and cons of them are with real life parents and all these things, you should check it out because it's actually super intriguing. Like Jeremy and I were watching it yesterday. We just started it from a one of our friends had suggested it. Not like in a rude way, like, but they were like, "Hey, this show is really cool. It's very interesting." So I was like, lately I've been on a very intense documentary podcast uh learning experience kind of thing. So I'm like, I'm gonna try this out with the parent test. So we'll see how it goes so far. It's been super interesting and a lot of things that I would like to implement on my own as well. Um, the other thing that I said I was going to talk about, I just had it in my mind. I still have the pregnancy brain. Hopefully that fogginess ends eventually. Oh, work, yes. So career-wise, I am back to work full time. On January 1st, I made it my mission to get myself back into the routine of things. Um, I wanted to do this because it was inevitable for me to get back to work. It was going to be inevitable, something that I wanted, as well as it was something that it was kind of like I of course I was afraid to how am I going to do this with my baby and do the same, work at the same time. And so the only way to really see how it would work was to rip the Band-Aid off. So that's what I did. I ripped the Band-Aid off and started going back full time. Technically, I had been doing 3 days a week, 2 weeks after I had my son. Um, but the full time has been really good. It's been working out. We learn new things every day on how to, kind of make it better. And I have goals that I'm trying to go after. So I've been looking into classes that I want to take to help reach these goals. And it's been a very exciting journey. And I feel a lot more like, even though I don't get a lot of rest, I feel a lot more rested than day one of being a mother, of course. I feel like I'm not going to say that I have a grasp of parenthood because I think that that's just learning experience, but I feel like I'm in a better place than I was in the beginning to start prepping and going after what it is that I'd like. So that's what I'm doing as well. So a lot of stuff happening, a lot of good. Um, and so hopefully I'll be back on the schedule of sharing, you know, different things with you guys. And of course, I have people that are prepping to come on to the podcast with me. So a lot is coming, a lot is happening. And hopefully, I won't see you in 3 weeks. Hopefully, I'll be back on my every other week schedule. But on that note, you are loved, you are worthy, you are cherished, and I am proud of you. Until next time on the Brie Pod. Bye.